Good morning, everyone. We will call to order. Thank you for joining us for the May 22nd, 2026 Volusia Forever Committee meeting. We will start with a roll call.
Jessica Gow,
Here.
Suzanne Schreiber, Kelly Frasca,
Here.
Gerald Fieser,
Here.
John Campbell,
Here.
Derek LaMontagne,
Here.
John Macaluso,
Here.
Dana McCool,
Here.
Wanda Van Dam.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Fantastic. Thank you, and welcome, Dana, to your first official meeting. We're excited to have you. All right, we will move on to public participation. I do not have any public participation forms at this time. If you would like to speak to an item, just make sure you fill out that participation form. You'll have 3 minutes. And we will move on to the approval of the March 20th, 2026 meeting minutes. If someone has had a chance to review that and would like to make a motion, we will entertain it. Or we have comments.
I make them.
Yeah,
Wanda has
real quick.
comment, sure.
On page 4 of 8 or page 6, second paragraph, Chairman Gow noted that no representative for the Lake Diaz property had, right, okay, my apologies, I read that wrong. I was thinking it should say the property owner had not arrived, but the way it's written, it is correct. My apologies.
No worries. Any other comments before we have a motion? All right.
I'll make a motion. We accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, likewise. Great. Minutes have passed. We will jump to old business. So you got a revised agenda emailed out. That should all be in front of you. So, as Wanda noted, the Lawson Road property, we ranked it last time, or we found it eligible last time, but we did not rank it because we did not have a property owner representative. So we will revisit Lawson Road just for ranking into the A or B list first on today's agenda.
Good morning, Tim Telfer with Volusia Forever program. So as you've been made aware, we have this Lawson Road ranking stage that we're at right now. So we're asking the committee to make a determination whether this should be placed on the A or B list. It's already been determined eligible. This is a conservation easement, approximately 95 acres in size. Staff had scored it at 11 out of 21. The minimum required is 10. We do have some potential with the Rural and Family Lands Protection Program. That's our FDAX partners on agricultural easements. For attributes, it is within the Ecological Greenway Network, which is our wildlife corridor there. And it is also on the county's environmental systems corridor. And with that, we'll stand by for any questions on the matter. And we do have property owners, representatives in the audience today for any questions beyond staff.
Fantastic. Do we have questions from staff on this one?
This question, what we're looking at here, this picture,
Microphone, please.
isn't that the Cower crop?
Yeah.
Same what, but I see up here 95 acres, which, yeah, that's a lot larger. Yeah.
So,
Sorry about that.
okay, so sometimes this happens to us. I apologize. So we will prepare the PowerPoint, and if it's put together a little bit later in the game, so sometimes our slides carry over a little bit of erroneous information. So I'm going to read the project report form. The project report form listed as 735 acres and listed as agricultural easement. So those are corrected matters, so please disregard the 2 items that are on the PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you.
All right, other questions for staff on review here? If not, we will entertain a motion for ranking.
Move to place it on the A list?
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to place this on the A list. Any further discussion? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, this property will be sorted on the A list. Now we will move on to new business. So we will do the joint eligibility and ranking today. So we'll start with eligibility review.
And so for the advisory committee's benefit, I want to let the committee know that there are representatives for all of the applications here today, so you can handle both eligibility and ranking at today's meeting. So we are at the eligibility stage. Next slide, please. There's the location of these items under your consideration for both eligibility and ranking. And the first item is going to be Pitnam Road. Next slide, please. And I'll roll right into this one, Hunter. So this is the Pittman Road application. This is another agricultural easement. Staff had scored at 12 out of 19. Our minimum is 9. Acreage is over 100 acres, around 101. It's not within any of our current target areas, and we don't have any conservation property adjacent to it. With that, we'll stand by for questions.
Questions for staff?
Did staff visit this property?
We had a staff member do a drive-by, essentially, 'cause it's mostly pasture.
Other questions for staff? All right, seeing none, do we have any general discussion on the topic, or we'll entertain a motion?
Yeah, just a question. So
Eric, sure.
you said, was there someone here who wanted to speak to it, or this is just if we got questions?
We have a property owner representative for ranking. If you have questions for them, I mean, they're also welcome to come speak, but
Okay, so just checking, we might or we are planning to do the ranking then after a vote, is it?
after eligibility. Yep. Go ahead, Susan.
Madam, I would move that it is eligible.
Second.
I have another question.
Sure, we've got a motion and a second. We'll go to discussion. Suzanne?
I noticed it said that gopher tortoises were on the property.
So you're asking for confirmation if there are gopher tortoises on the property?
I'm asking, are there gopher tortoises on the property? That was actually my question. I'm sorry. I was trying to read my question and look at you.
Sure, so gopher tortoises weren't confirmed, but are you referencing the page 29 with the gopher tortoise overlay?
So I didn't write down the page number, but I'm just asking a general question. Are there gopher tortoises on the property?
It's likely, and this gopher tortoise overlay gives us sort of an approximation that there's a likelihood, but they weren't confirmed with a site visit.
Derek?
Can I ask what kind of buildings are those that are listed? There's a page 24 buildings, at least 3 of them at least. So just wondering what they were. Some kind of agricultural thing, I assume.
We're not buying.
Just asking. Oh, okay.
So it's our understanding that these are agricultural structures, essentially barns and other storage areas for the agricultural operations.
Okay.
Seeing no other questions, we have a motion and a second to find this eligible for the Forest and Farmlands Easement Program. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this property will be found eligible. We will revisit it for sorting shortly. Next is the East Washington 1 property. For both of these properties, I think we want to note that the application came in as an agricultural, but the analysis was done on conservation. It shifted, correct?
That is correct, yes. There didn't seem to be the same level of agricultural history on this property. We thought it was a good fit for our conservation easement program.
Fantastic. All right.
Good morning, everyone. Hunter Fulmer, Chief of Land Management. The next property is East Washington, the first of the parcels. And as mentioned, this is a conservation easement now. So it's a staff score 12 out of 21 out of the required 10. It's around 90 acres. It's in the Florida Wildlife Corridor target area, and there is no adjacent conservation property. We'll take any questions.
Questions for staff on this parcel? Wanda?
Given that this has been turned into a conservation easement, does that lessen the chances for a rural and family lands protection program, or are our conservation easements qualify for that program?
For our partners, we would look to partner with either the Florida Department of Environmental Protection or the St. Johns River Water Management District on a standard conservation easement like this.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Other questions for staff? Seeing none, we can entertain a motion.
Move to make this property eligible.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to find this property eligible. Do we have further discussion or comments? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor, please note it by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, like sign? All right, this property will be found eligible. Move on to Washington 2.
Okay, Washington 2 is also a conservation easement. Staff scored it 12 out of 21, exceeding the minimum required of 10 out of 21, approximately 82 acres in size. This is within the Florida Wildlife Corridor, and our analysis indicated that there was not adjacent conservation property.
Questions for staff on this property? Okay, seeing none, oh, go ahead, Suzanne, and then we'll hit Derek.
So just want to be clear, does it actually touch the first other Washington one or not exactly?
I believe so.
Believe it does touch? Okay.
Yeah,
got
they
it.
are contiguous.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a general question. We're in an area here that you're saying doesn't have other conservation abutting it near it. Just out of general curiosity, do you see pursuing or looking for other conservation easements in this area or other agricultural easements to expand?
Yes, we do. We, for quite a number of months now, I'd say in excess of 24 to 30 months, we've been looking at this northwest section of Volusia County here. There is historic agricultural operations up there, significant operations. And so we've been trying to make inroads with the landowners there, talk to them about the agricultural easement program and the conservation easement programs and to see if we can continue to build conservation property here.
And is this part of the conservation corridor expansion that was pursued by the mailing at all? Just curious about that as well.
I need to look at the map to give you a firm answer on that.
It is within the high priority of the wildlife corridor.
Thank you.
I understand, but the county did a mailing on expanding the conservation corridor. I know that's been a while ago, so I'm just curious, is this funding coming from that area or from that expansion?
From the O to O expansion.
In other words, did the mailing bring anything forward? That's just-
So the mailing got kind of a mixed response that we didn't feel that there was enough volume there to really make significant expansions to the Volusia Conservation Corridor. And so for background, this question is related to the Volusia Conservation Corridor. This is one of our Florida Forever project areas. Think of that separately than the Wildlife Corridor. You need actually both to tap Wildlife Corridor funding. So we did go through a process to any new members on our committee where we had put a significant amount of work in, including a mailing to adjacent properties that met the conservation criteria and asked them to respond. And we just did not have enough volume to present it to the Acquisition and Restoration Council in Tallahassee.
Other questions on this item? Yep, Derek?
This is a very small, minor question, but so is the address 1205 for this one or the previous one? Because they both said that. So I just want to clarify if it's just one was supposed to. Maybe I'm misreading it, but yeah, on the one says 1205 East Washington, and that says it again for this one. So are they both? Is that the actual address? I see the parcel numbers. We can identify it that way. They're different.
Right, so your question leads us into a discussion of 911 addressing. Not all properties receive a 911 address. Usually there has to be a domicile on the property or a request from the landowner to receive that address. So it's my understanding that the nearest adjacent 911 address is 1205, and it's a simple reference for both parcels due to the contiguity.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, if we do not have any further questions for staff, we're going to have public comment. So up first, we'll have Robert Doyle. No, not for this side. Okay. Joe Skinner.
Joe Skinner representing the landowner of Washington 2. So Washington 2 is contiguous to an existing conservation easement with the Water Management District. I know that wasn't noted previously. Even Pittman Road is contiguous to existing St. John's Water Management District land, which, I mean, I would consider conservation. It's not Volusia County, but it's still Water Management District. So I just wanted to clear that up. From an access standpoint, for Washington 1 and Washington 2, Washington 1 has an access easement through Washington 2 at the 1205 East Washington address. So that's why we put 1205 East Washington on the application. So,
Perfect. Does anybody
so
have
we
any-
would be expanding the conservation corridor, even though Volusia County doesn't have the easement on the adjoining land, land to the east.
I appreciate you answering that because I was curious. I appreciate the conservation, but it was a question overall for that area,
Right.
and I appreciate knowing that.
Okay. And I think you had another question regarding the tortoise on the Pittman property. I mean, that is tortoise habitat. Now, whether or not a tortoise is there today versus a week ago, I can't answer that question. So, is there any other questions for staff?
Any other questions for the property owner representative? Yep, Derek.
Does that little lake have a name? I think you just said 25-acre lake or something. Just curious if you have one.
I'm not sure right offhand. I'd have to get you that at a later date.
I mean, yeah, it's always good if the county, maintains it. We want to keep historic names, I guess. So if you
Yeah.
know of one, just,
Right.
I guess, tell somebody.
Other questions for the property representative? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. With that, if we don't have any further questions, we can entertain a motion for Washington 2.
I'll make a motion for Washington 2.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please note it by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that property will also be found eligible. We will proceed to Old Train Road.
Okay, this is our last property for eligibility. This is Old Train Road. This is a fee simple application, scored 12 out of 21 out of the required 10. It's around 321 acres. It is within the wildlife corridor and the environmental overlay, and it is directly adjacent to the county's managed Deep Creek Preserve.
Questions for staff on this item?
I have a question. Sure. So I didn't write down a page number, but it referred to disturbed lands, I believe. I'd written a note saying it did.
So there is, this is page 138, the flux vegetation. So this references disturbed lands, and I believe it's referencing the roadbed, and it looks like a woods trail that goes into the property is the disturbed lands.
A what trail, I'm sorry?
A woods trail, 2-track.
Yeah, just as if you've turned to page 138 in your books, but just please note that there are two colors there that are very close. One is disturbed lands, the other is hardwood conifer mix. So please note that disturbed land is over on the west side of that property adjacent to the roadway there.
I see, so it's not actually within the property. I noticed the color difference now that you pointed this out. Correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
got it, thank you.
Yeah, so that core area is the conifer mix.
And that's the main channel of Deep Creek, is it not? That runs-
That's correct.
That's a huge drainage way, you know. US 92 all the way down. Okay.
Other questions for staff on this item? Yep, Derek?
Yeah, maybe just two quick questions. Let's see, on the one, this is just what the map is telling me. I just want to make sure this, on 141, we've had other maps. Just the yellow roads means no county maintenance, but we would maintain, we can, that's a county road, is that why it's yellow, basically? These are just curious, because we're gonna maintain potentially, right, or?
So, just a little background. This is a deed restricted community. So you actually have to get in via a restricted gate. So these appear to be private roads. Otherwise, they would be county emergency maintenance. But if we purchase the property, we have access.
Okay, and I guess one other question, sorry if I missed this or if it was just said, but the little rectangle to the west side, like seen on 129, it's under what program, I guess?
Which page are you referencing? 129?
129, yeah.
So that's actually owned by us as well.
Okay, it's part of full fee simple. Okay.
Yes.
Hunter, I'll jump in. Nick Dunham, Resource Stewardship Director. That parcel you're referring to, Derek, was originally came with the Leffler purchase of Deep Creek Preserve. That is part of the one of the old Leffler parcels that came with the entire 4,800 acres for Deep Creek Preserve.
Thank you for that.
And just a clarification, when it was noted that if purchased, the county would have access, you mean beyond that road, you would just access it through the existing Deep Creek property?
Technically, we actually already have access to the road that Mr. LaMontagne was referencing because we have that parcel on page 129. But we do have access from Deep Creek Preserve as well.
Yeah, and I wanted to add some clarity. That is access for service to the property, to service Deep Creek Preserve. This would not be a public access point to the preserve.
Good to know.
Other questions for staff? All right, we do have a public speaker, so Joseph Lau. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. I go by Alex. It's also Joseph Lau. My parents' name are Joseph and Venus Lau, so just to separate the two of us. Anyway, I'm their son. Also, I'm an attorney, and we also represent the Lau Family Trust. So the acreage is actually 339 acres that we have. There's 3 parcels. They're adjacent to each other. Then there's a dirt road that goes across, and then the back of each of the properties has that creek. It's a pretty deep creek that runs. I think it empties into Lake Monroe, but I've never paddled my way through there. There's obviously turkey, heron, deer, mosquito fish, wild mollies in the water there. I know because I've been netting some of those since I was 12 years old. We've had it since 1987, and then the second 2 parcels we purchased in January 1988. It was, I think Douglas Weaver made an offer back in 2007 before to purchase the property before, but it's currently agriculture exemption for pine trees on there. So then it's been recently harvested. So just wanted to make sure that that the acreage was correct. But as far as that, I mean, other than a bunch of people calling me every few months to try to hunt on the property, which we always say no, it's a pretty lot. And then there's also, it's pretty high so that it doesn't flood that much because of the deep creek in the back.
Got it. Fantastic. Just a question for clarity for you. Is the overall boundary, the acreage could just be based on GIS or anything like that, the overall boundary and the parcel IDs are correct in the backup?
Yeah, well, oh, you mean on the letters that you sent? One of the parcel numbers had 2 extra zeros on it, but I think I already contacted Ms. Strobel about it, but the parcel numbers are correct now after I emailed her back.
Fantastic. I just want to make sure that we know that the acreage that you're quoting is probably accurate. It might just depend on final survey.
Yeah.
All right. Questions for the property owner's representative? All right. Thank you for being here today.
May I be excused, or do you need me for the rest of
No,
it?
certainly.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We had no further questions for staff, no questions for the property owner. If we don't have any further discussion, we will entertain a motion.
Madam
like
Chair,
to-
make a motion.
I'd like to do a second.
All right. We've got a motion for eligibility and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. All right. That property will also be found as eligible. Fantastic. And now we will shift gears.
Okay, we are shifting to the ranking process now on those properties that were just determined to be eligible for the program. We've got another map here showing their locations, and the first one for the ranking is the Pitnam Road property, an agricultural easement at roughly 101 GIS acres. Staff had scored it at a 12 out of 19. The minimum is a 9 out of 19. We do have a potential match with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Rural and Family Lands Protection Program. We did not note any further attributes for the property. Thank you.
Any questions from staff as it relates to ranking of this property? All right, seeing none, if we have a motion, we will entertain it.
I would move to place this to the A list.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to move this to the A list. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please note it by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. All right, that property will be ranked on the A list. We will move on to Washington 1.
Okay, next for ranking, we have the first of the East Washington Avenue parcels. This is a conservation easement, around 90 acres in size. It was 12 out of the 21 out of the required 10. No potential matching funds were identified, and this is within the wildlife corridor.
All right, questions for staff on the ranking of this item? Derek?
I'm so sorry if I did miss this, but does it touch Flagler or not? I mean, I just want to clarify. Maybe I didn't hear that.
Nick Dunham, Resource Stewardship Director. I think the next parcel is the one that touches the Flagler County line, East Washington 2, if I remember correctly.
So this one doesn't. Okay.
I think both of them may.
It looked like this one has county zoning all around it, so I think it does not touch the.
For our county.
Yep. If you look at page 74 in the eligibility ranking, you can see where that zoning line switches over just to an aerial view. That's where the county line is.
Yeah, just the other one.
And if you look on 75, right next to it, you'll see a white line that I think is going to be the Volusia Flagler line. It runs north-south, just to the east of this property.
Okay. Yeah. Just curious if ever we are buying or looking to, acquire land that touches neighboring counties, do you guys consult with the neighboring county in some way, I guess?
Certainly happy. Pardon me. We're certainly happy to coordinate with Flagler County on any properties that would either cross the boundary or present an opportunity for their engagement. Obviously, our dollars stop at the Volusia County line.
Great.
Thanks.
Seeing no other questions, we will entertain a motion for ranking.
I'll make a motion, we move this to the A list.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to move this to the A list. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. This is moved to the A list. We'll move on to Washington 2.
So the East Washington 2 is also a conservation easement, approximately 82 acres in size. Staff had scored it at a 12 out of 21, exceeding the minimum required of 10. We did not list potential matching funds here, but obviously there is some potential here for Florida Forever or the St. Johns River Water Management District. It just depends on how some of those budgets shake out over time. And this one appears to have an attribute of the wildlife corridor listed.
Questions for staff on this one as it relates to ranking? All right, seeing none, we will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to place this on the A list.
We have a motion and a second to find this on the A list. Any further discussion? Derek?
Just, again, a question, sorry. Just want to make sure, part of it is incorporated, but part is not. Just want to make sure if that doesn't really matter, I guess, does it, in any way that we can think of in terms of purchasing it, like sometimes, or that doesn't, Well, I was going to say it might affect cost or something maybe, but not, I guess it doesn't in any way really affect anything. Is that correct?
Could I ask you to repeat that?
A portion of it is located in a different jurisdiction within the county, a city. So the zoning map just shows about the lower half as incorporated.
Oh, okay.
So he's asking if that impacts the process.
Oh,
Thank
okay,
you for
thank you,
wording
thank you. Yeah, we'll certainly reach out to the municipality, see if there's a partnership opportunity. This is not what I would consider, the municipalities in Northwest Volusia County do not carry the same budgetary weight as the municipalities on the east coast of Volusia County here, so we would certainly reach out and see if they're interested, but it would not be a make or break partnership if we were going to proceed with the easement.
Okay.
Tim, I'll jump in real quick too. So being in an unincorporated or incorporated area really has no bearing on the eligibility. Where that may come into play is down the road if we're seeking a management partnership on a fee simple property. Since these are conservation easements, it really has no bearing on the application today, but we do take that into consideration when we're reviewing fee simple properties inside incorporated areas.
Yeah, because fee simple would be different, right? And we might actually want to ask for the zoning to be the same for all of it or something. But yeah, I guess if it's just easement, then yeah, it's not as much a big deal, I guess. Thank you for clarifying.
And I'll correct myself. I see it's Pearson, so I will say that it's in a town, not a city. So. All right, other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, I believe we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? All right, that will move to the A list, and we'll move on to Old Train Road.
Last up for ranking, Old Train Road. Again, this is fee simple, 321 acres. This is ranked by staff at 12 out of 19. The required 9. No matching funds were identified, and this is located within the environmental core overlay and the wildlife corridor. Thank you.
Questions for staff on ranking for this one? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to place this on the A list.
I'll second.
Okay. We will have a motion in many seconds, but we have Derek with a brief discussion.
No, I just want to say it looks like it's a great spot. I mean, just if I had to like throw a bullseye at like where on the corridor we should get more land, like that's where it is. So just positive comment and thanks for the owner for bringing it and all the owners today actually for, bringing land. We always, at least I just appreciate you guys showing up and for, everyone participating in the program. So again, thanks for doing that.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to rank this on the A list. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? All right. That will also be ranked on the A list. All right. And that brings us through eligibility and sorting. Thank you everyone for being with us today for that process. Great to get them both knocked out at once and give staff free rein to run it down. We will switch over to staff comments and property updates.
Okay, so I'm going to jump into property updates, and you're welcome to ask questions anytime as I move along here. I'm going to start out with the McMillan agricultural easement. We have closed on that agricultural easement at this time. Appreciate the owner and their cooperation and patience for working with us. The next one to bring to your attention is the Tomoka Farms Road project. We do have an offer on the table right now with the landowners. They are having a family discussion to see if it's acceptable. We should know within the next, we should know early next week whether that offer has been accepted or not. Another update on the Bennett Road agricultural easement. We continue to stand by our partners in Tallahassee with Florida Agriculture and Consumer Services are doing some due diligence ahead of the offer stage. So we are in standby mode and prepared to partner with them on that agricultural easement. Caraway Lakes is not yet closed, but we have passed the survey review stage. So when we hit the due diligence stage, after the county council approves a contract, we move into due diligence that normally consists of our phase 1 environmental assessment and the survey. Survey has been completed, has been reviewed by both agencies. It takes the state a little bit of time now to move up to the closing process. It actually moves to a different location in their house. but we expect to initiate that closing process in the very near future. And I'll slow down a little bit so people can catch up. The next one I was going to mention is Cypress Ranch.
Excuse me a minute. A question just popped in mind on that property out there around Lake Caraway, which I know very well. Is there any way when we do these easements to put a first right of refusal in there should they ever sell?
There is, and we do discuss that with landowners. That is something that we do look to insert in these easement documents if it's appropriate, but sometimes landowners decline having that language included.
If there was ever a parcel that this would make a phenomenal park being on two lakes like that. It's absolutely incredible property. But anyway, I know I'd bring it up. I know this deal is moving on. I'm glad it's being kept because I know some of the alternatives that were being talked about. So at least it buys more time for this beautiful piece of property to remain as it is.
Agreed.
Thank you.
So the Cypress Ranch property be the next one to bring to your attention. This is another project that we have an offer on the table with the landowner on. Actually, I have a voicemail from the owner on my phone. So when I get back to the office, we'll discuss the next stage and see if they're ready to accept. The next one I'll move towards is Lake George Road. Lake George Road is another project that we have an offer on the table for. Our offers are, I'll describe them as finite. We don't leave them open indefinitely. There's usually a closing period for our offers. Today is that closing date. So end of business today, the owner will either accept the offer or we'll move on to the next project down the list. And this does happen. The next one that I'll mention is Riverbend Ranch. I hope you all have been tracking this. We had a very positive county council meeting on this acquisition. The council unanimously approved, and so now we are starting to wind up. This is the due diligence phase to get to the closing table on this significant acquisition. So, and again, I'm just going to point out how significant this piece of property is. This is the southern tip of the Volusia Conservation Corridor. This is the heart of the Florida Wildlife Corridor as it traverses up through Volusia County. And it's got roughly 2 miles of waterfront on the St. Johns River. It's beautiful land, and this is a wonderful legacy project for this advisory committee through the future.
Tim, a question on that. Are we the sole?
We are. It is just Volusia County on this transaction. Yes, no partners.
Another question. I'm assuming you've been all over the property, and now that we're looking at it, is there any high access to the water?
So down the east side, there is an existing two-trail road. There is a small area that is seasonally inundated. I don't know if it's going to meet the definition of a wetland, and I'm not going to ask Hunter to make any statement on that today. There is a small area that would be seasonally inundated. It may be appropriate for some type of an elevated crossing, but once you traverse that, you are able to get down to the waterfront on uplands.
You are on uplands, but there's a swamp. Okay. Well, that would certainly be nice. That would be a great feather in the hat to have a hiking trail down to the water, because that river is absolutely incredibly beautiful along there. So good job.
Yep. Okay. We'll move on then. The next one is going to be Wiregrass in Holding. And this is an example. It's wonderful property. It's wholly contained within Wiregrass Prairie. But sometimes our offers are not accepted. So we had extended an offer to the landowner at the maximum appraised value here. This is all we can go in on a piece of property like this. Unfortunately, it was declined. So as it goes, we will move on to the next project. And the next project to bring to your attention is going to be the John Anderson project.
I have a question. Are you thinking it's the amount of time that these have taken? What?
No. The landowners have been extremely patient with us. So when we submit an offer to the landowner, it's usually a verbal conversation followed by a written letter. When they respond, we don't always get an explanation why they're declining. Sometimes these are personal matters that we do not try to pry out of them. Yep. So the John Anderson project was also approved by the county council. This was on May 19th. They gave us a unanimous approval to continue acquisition of this property. This is going to be paid for through park funds, and that decision was made because there is going to be a little bit of activity on the property that may or may not be within the Volusia Forever parameters, so we felt it was more prudent to utilize the park funds on this acquisition. We are now, again, engaging the due diligence stage. I think Jessica just scheduled the survey out on that property this morning, so we'll have some folks out there as soon as possible and look to close this one.
Question. Do you have any idea how many parking spaces you're planning on putting there?
I do not know.
Because that is the big pushback from the public. Just saying.
Appreciate the
when you-
feedback.
I mean, I can't avoid saying it out loud, so
Sure.
I'm
yeah.
just saying.
Tim, I'll add some. So we do have a conceptual plan we're working on. This is going to be an expansion of the current county park system there with an additional water access point. And parking expansion is certainly part of that design we're going to be working on. So there will be additional parking with this parcel.
Paved? Because that is the pushback from the public, is that it's being purchased and that it's not disturbed in the sense and pavement that.
We haven't got that far in the engineering phase to see if paving is going to be recommended or not. But I will say the 3 acres on the southern end of this parcel are already built up and highly disturbed by the previous landowner. So it's not taking anything out of that area to develop parking that's not already being used as a parking. The owner was actually going to use it as a helipad. It's been built up for that.
No, I understand. And I did tell the public that I could respond to without getting screamed at, that it could have been developed for, housing or whatever. But the question in general about the parking, I mean, that is just a legitimate question. So the answer is we really don't know yet, right? I mean, you know where the area is going to be, but you're not sure if it's going to be paved or not?
Yeah, we haven't gone through the engineering yet to see the best fit. Too early in the process. Yep.
Okay. Last update is the potential for partnerships with our partner agencies in Tallahassee. So the Florida Forever program and the Rural and Family Lands Protection Program. So as a reminder, we are still in the Florida special session. I believe the current one would expire a week from today, 29th. Okay, so I'll give a brief update, but understand everything is fluid. So even the things that I say today can change before lunchtime today as they continue to negotiate these matters. Right now, the governor, according to our information, is still at $115 million for his recommended funding for the Florida Forever program. The Florida Senate has increased their recommendation from $35 million to $75 million, with the Florida House still at $25 million. So this is on the Florida Forever side. Interesting development here to bring to your attention, though. There's a lot of dialogue coming out of the special session regarding easements through the Florida Forever program. Enough dialogue that it appears that a lot of the legislature is in favor of doing less than fee. So these are the conservation easements that Florida Forever does, and not fee simple acquisitions at the same level they've been historically doing them. That is something we're all going to track and keep our eyes on. Obviously, it affects our partnership ability going forward if that money is no longer there for fee simple. Rural and Family Lands Protection Program, this is the opposite story. They're doing outstanding in the Florida legislative session here. It appears that there's about a $200 million baseline for funding this agricultural easement program. I think the thing that I would bring to your attention on this one is we've seen that these numbers kind of go back and forth. There's some other discussions of even up to $500 million here, but it appears it's going to land somewhere between $200 and $300 million to fund the Rural and Family Lands Protection Program. That's the extent of my updates. We're going to continue to monitor Tallahassee, and we'll bring you the information when it becomes available. Thank you.
Questions for staff on any property updates or legislative updates? Although that's a crystal ball. We will move on to advisory committee comments. Does anybody have anything for the committee they would like to share? Suzanne?
So I have a question for staff, and then separate comments. In the minutes, and I knew when it was asked, Mr. Fieser asked about Moore Lake and stormwater. I'm circling back to that again. The answer was that staff didn't really know. Do you know what's going on with any stormwater development in Moore Lake?
So there are some talks and plans in the county to possibly use Moore Lake as an emergency overflow area. That is the extent of it right now. And it would be a last resort to some other areas. So I do know it's not a primary target area, but given the location and the outflow that it has, it is on the list of potential areas that could be used for an outflow.
And so if it were used for outflow, would stormwater reimburse Volusia forever?
It's not going to affect the property at all as far as the water. It's not going to flood anything extra. It's just to hold the excess water to the level that's appropriate. So it would be monitored, to my understanding, to where it would not have excess water put in it that's going to leave the property or flood the Moore Lake property itself. That's my best answer, as I'm not a public engineer on that, but that's the best
I
can do.
understand. I just remember the first year in these meetings, it was said that these lands were to be considered environmentally sensitive, more of our pristine, not to be used for stormwater, their natural stormwater storage, natural stormwater. It's just surprising to me now we've evolved in this direction. That's all.
Well, the land itself is not being used for that specific stormwater overflow. It's the lake itself, not the land.
Okay, but the lake was part of all of it, right?
Some of the parcel does extend into the lake, but the lake is a public lake there.
Right, okay. Moving on, there was a Florida Wildlife Corridor conference in Ocala the day before yesterday. Yeah, I had to think for a minute, Wednesday. It was in the afternoon and into the evening, and they also had an expo. They had a couple of workshops. They have their horse farms under pressure right now for development, and there was an enormous amount of talk on easements. I took the easement workshop. NRCS was there, Florida Forever. It was a panel. Rural Family Lands was there. They were the panel, and then someone who had gone through the process from start to finish, and a rancher. I would say it was pretty well attended. There were somewhere between, it varied different times of the day, but somewhere probably between 200 and 300 people, maybe. And they had a guest speaker in the evening. It was just educational. That's all I'm going to say. And the overall, it's interesting that you're saying this, about the state and the easements. Overall, there was a lot of talk about easements and ranching, but there was really, in the workshop I was in and outside of that, there was walking around, even in the expo, there was really, I didn't hear anyone talking about fee simple purchases. And that was troubling. The Florida Forever representative was there, was talking about easements. She was there to represent easements. So the expo was fairly well put on as well. It was a lot of trust for public lands type people. FWC had a representative there. Conservation Florida was there. So anyway, it was very educational and pretty well attended overall.
Great, fantastic.
One last question. This might not be our county, but it's a pretty big deal. I literally just heard about this. Embry-Riddle is looking at putting a runway in the Ocala National Forest. I don't know the details. I'm not trying to start a rumor. It's being really talked about it's coming forward quite a bit. I don't know anything about this other than just hearing it. It did not come up at the Florida Wildlife Corridor Conference. That was strictly talking about easements and ranching and conservation easements as well. But I don't know if staff has heard anything about that at all. It's being brought up for the first time to me. And it's, obviously Ocala is not in Volusia County, but that is a pretty big deal. So I'm just putting that out there.
Yep. Staff has had no knowledge of what you're describing. So.
I literally don't know anything about it other than it's just now being brought up for the first time.
I can speak to that. Yes, I saw they were trying to do more than just a runway. It was, a slightly bigger one in Ocala. A few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, there was a comment period, I think for one of the permits. It might have been with the Army Corps or maybe the Water Management District. So yeah, there is still a chance for public to comment. I think after that happened, then there were some news stories, and they may have partially gone back and worked on resubmitting the permit, but definitely for people who are wanting to learn more, definitely follow the permits. And yes, but you are correct that that's not just a rumor. They've already applied for such thing, but there was a lot of public pushback. Yeah, I guess you'd have to dig a little bit into that.
So the study that was pursued by Mr. Fine on state forest being looked at to be possibly national forest. The study, my understanding is that that was approved, so state forests are going to be reviewed. It's going to be quite a lengthy review, but I'm a little perplexed at the people who didn't want the state forest to be reviewed for the national forest. They didn't even want to review, but now I don't see the pushback equally on the airport situation. I guess I'm just making a statement. It's a strange, when everyone shows up for one thing, but then they don't show up for the other. It's just a strange, we're living in strange times. That's all I can say.
And just to end cap that, if anyone who's listening is interested, if you want to research more, that is Marion County, Florida, not Volusia. Yeah, Kelly, you had
Right. I want to make sure I tried to say in the beginning it's not Volusia County.
But if they
But
wanna know what
Embry-Riddle
county.
is here, and that's one reason I brought it up, and they are very close by. So part of the O2O conservation, and that's why I brought it up, because we are part of the O2O conservation.
Yeah, I was just telling them the county in case people want to Google it.
100%, thank you.
Kelly?
Just really quickly, I just want to thank you, Suzanne, for attending the Corridor Connect and bringing back that information. I too was intending on going, but I had other circumstances. So thank you for bringing that information.
All right. Derek?
I want to ask a few questions, but maybe for the benefit of the public, I was hoping to get an update on any recent county council workshops or discussions about possible changes to Volusia Forever, and if there are none, then that's a fine update. But I know maybe just want for all of our meetings to be just, if people only watched our meetings, I think recent ones we've kind of had some serious discussions about, we need to tell this and that to people, and then just not much discussion today. So can people now rest easy, I guess, or can you tell us what's just for, again, I might know some, but just for the people listening, what the current status is?
Yeah, there's been no workshop scheduled at this time, and that's where we're waiting further direction for that.
Okay, I'm sure you'll let us know if that does happen, but I appreciate that's a fine point of information. A couple other things. I did have a question that kind of came up when it came up that we need to obviously get access to some properties for maintenance and other things, sometimes through private subdivisions or whatever it happens to be. My question is, in the future, I guess, what's the best way for people who want to help, I guess, volunteer, for lack of a better term, with, the county? Are we allowing such possible cleanup participation, and should they just reach out to, I guess, you for if that's a possibility? And I guess
I'm glad you asked that question. So after committee comments today, we actually have Tommy Norman here from our Explore Volusia program that's going to brief the committee real quick. He also can handle any volunteer opportunities. We do that, but we'll let him, and we have a recreational specialist as well that heads that program up. So if you don't mind, we'll wait till after committee comments, and we'll have Mr. Norman speak.
Oh, today? I thought that was our last thing, but okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. Maybe just two very small other things too. Just curious too if anyone else had any difficulty with the emails we got. Again, it's a very minor thing. It's good otherwise, but I'd still prefer to not have to go through multiple steps, which I had to do to access the agenda, I guess. Is there any way we can just make it simpler? I don't know if that's possible, but I just want to bring that up. Again, it's all there once you can log in and everything, but since it's all public record what you guys send us anyways, I prefer to not have to like authenticate myself and anything. It should just be click link and it's open. Is that possible?
I think it's the size for emailing, but if there a way maybe to send a ping out when it's available, it all gets posted on the website eventually. It's just that the direct mail is size limited. So when it's on the website, would that be something that maybe if you want to get notice of that, you can, then it's a one click?
Yeah, the same time the packet goes out to the committee, it is posted on the website for the public, and they get the exact same package. We can add the link inside the email that we send you with your packet to the public information, and that okay. Quick version though. It's an IT solution that we deal with as well. So.
Thank you all. It sounds like there's consensus. I hope. I appreciate all that. And this is last question, I promise. But I also saw something interesting, and this just came to mind that, okay, on one of the maps, there's a road, apparently in Flagler, that's called the Volusia Forest Trail. Is there such a thing as the Volusia Forest? Like, it's on page 70. I'm looking at that. It's just, I found that interesting. If they have a forest named after our county, that's not in our county, or if it's connected. Does anyone know anything about that naming?
I don't know the exact naming of that road or the time frame, but fun historical fact, for the public, Flagler County used to be part of Volusia County in the past. So some of these older names, they extend multiple counties that may have started here for the road names.
I'm being told that's the name of a subdivision in the area.
In Flagler. Oh, in Volusia. Okay,
Yeah,
but that's
there is a Volusia Forest subdivision up there as well.
okay. Okay, I don't get up there, so thank you for that.
All right. Other committee comments on this side? I'm going to turn on this side. Wanda?
Also, just very quick, comment was made about accessing Deep Creek from the high ground. I just want to emphasize that coming from the river, we do this frequently. Coming up from the St. John's, heading up Deep Creek is an absolutely beautiful ride. It's what I would consider old Florida on both sides. It's stunning. So, and the pictures that were in the packet that was presented to council, I think in my mind, I see one picture and I think that's one isolated snapshot. Almost the entire ride is like that. It's absolutely beautiful land. So if you get an opportunity from the river to go up, it's stunning.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think everyone's really excited about that. Member McCool, I did not at the beginning give you a chance to introduce yourself. I assume everyone knows Dana, but if you would like to say anything for the committee.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the appointment. In my past life as an elected official, sustainable growth and acquisition, one of my top platforms. I think that's what I was known for. And it is an honor to be sitting here. I appreciate Councilman Santiago's confidence in me. I've worked with at least half of you sitting up here over the last 6 years, and it's a privilege, and hopefully could be a good steward of what I'm learning up here. And I would like to thank staff for the crash course and the warm handoff here. I appreciate your advice. It was really good advice, and so thank you very much for having me here. I look forward to working to make Volusia County sustainable and conserve as much as we can.
Fantastic. And one just comment, potentially or partially for Dana's benefit as well, is that this moved very smoothly today. I think it has for the past few meetings, and I wanted to say a shout out to staff just in terms of getting ahead of questions that we know that the committee will want to hear about, and also the public for bringing forward some really exceptional pieces of property. It feels like it's been a little bit before we've had some that have been a struggle, and so we really like to see these great properties come forward. Would love to see anything people think are eligible for the program, but we've had some really, really great ones and great movement here. All right, and with that, I think we are turning it over for a guest presentation.
Yeah, so at this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Tommy Norman, who heads our Explore Volusia program. If you are not aware, the Explore Volusia program is the educational and outreach arm for Volusia Forever here in the county. So thank you, Tommy.
Yep. Good morning, everyone. Tommy Nordman, as Nick said. Yep, the Explore Volusia program is a great program providing outreach and education for Volusia Forever, our land management practices. So, my job, take people out onto the conservation lands. We lead hiking trips, biking, paddling trips, as well as eco buggy tours. So it really is, it's a great opportunity for me to share the perspectives of Volusia Forever, why we're doing it, and the work that our team does at land management to restore and manage the native habitat. So as Nick said, volunteer opportunities are a possibility as well. So we do from time to time have people coming to us looking, hey, can we do a cleanup? What can we do? Can we do trail maintenance? Things like that. So it's a great opportunity for that as well. So just wanted to be able to introduce myself. And let you know we're doing some good work out there, and it's great for me to be able to be here. Nick asked me to come so that I can kind of provide a little bit of perspective to the public when they have questions about, well, why isn't this land being chosen, or how does the process go? How does a management plan get put together? Things like that. So it's a great opportunity to be here and just provide some more background information to the public, because I imagine not a lot of people come to these meetings. I imagine some folks do watch them, but I know it's a great opportunity because they do ask a lot of questions on the program. So.
And if any member up here would like to follow up with you about volunteer opportunities or anything like that, what is your email?
T Nordman, Nordmann @volusia.org.
Fantastic. And are there any news releases that go out through Explore Volusia?
Yes. So our community information team at the county sends out press releases each month. So we got multiple programs. The June press release just went out. They also post it on the county Facebook page, and we have a newsletter that goes out to residents of Volusia County and people who are part-time residents of Volusia County. They've requested to receive a newsletter, so we send out a monthly newsletter as well that provides links to registration for all of our programs, and all of our programs are available on Eventbrite for registration. So you can go there yourself if you're familiar with Eventbrite and you use it. And of course, any of you are welcome to register for a program as well and come out and join us. So yeah.
And if you are not receiving the press releases, you should sign up. They're very good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, shoot me an email and I'll get you on the newsletter email list.
Fantastic.
What type of volunteer opportunities do you have?
So in the past, we've done cleanups, invasive plant removals, like we've done coral ardesia projects, Caesar weed removal, things like that. So that's kind of the common one, cleanups around campsites, parking lot areas, and then again, invasive species removals. Great. And I think in the past, they've done some trail work, helping put up signs on the trails and things like that. So.
Fantastic. Other questions? All right. Well, thank you for being here and the
information. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Before we end, anybody else have anything last minute to add? I think we're good. Oh, Wanda? Yep.
Just a quick comment. If people are looking for volunteering for cleanup, and so this isn't a Volusia Forever property, it's a Conservation Florida property. It's a 512-acre property, D Ranch Preserve. They do the first Tuesday, I believe it's the first Tuesday of every month, they do trail cleanup. So if people are looking for opportunities to volunteer, Conservation Florida has a newsletter as well. They send out notices when they're going to do cleanups. So that's another opportunity for people to get involved.
Fantastic. All right.
They were well represented yesterday, and they're quite nice people. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, that is the end of official business, so we will adjourn. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.